My name is Muhammad Hasbi bin Bahadur.
Hi, my name is Aina Zulaika binti Wahidi.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Shafika Isri.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Ailina Bila binti Marzuki.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Maria Nur Haja binti Jusnizan.
Hi, my name is Nurul Hazwana Almizi binti Ahmad Tamizi.
Assalamualaikum. Today we're going to present about the topic of dumpster community in the Philippines. As for the first issue for this topic is there is no fair lending access in the country due to the social divisions. In the Philippines, there are three primary classes exist: the low income class, the middle income class, and the high income class. This affects the opportunity for the people to work and the women and children. This will also lead to poverty, unemployment, crime, and many more. With poverty plaguing the country, many Filipinos are unable to afford housing, which puts them in danger of turning the streets for accommodation and also building the community in an appropriate place like the dumpster.
The second issue is the junk shop economy distress decent community lifestyle, which is most of the residents in Payatas depends on junk shop business operation to survive because it's more profitable with the less capital. They're likely collecting more than hundreds of pieces empty bottles a day, multiplied with the number of junk shop, which is 700 quoted in news 2021, making this place as a large garbage dump. They don't practice systematically in terms to process the material according to the standard and regulation from the authority, making people to recognize this place as a place to dump very kind of trash, including the leftover food, which will be consumed as a source in nutrient to the community. Non-backpack. The poor will scavenge the food from the truck, dump site, and also the market to be cleaned and recooked to sell and be consumed in this community. In Manila, Mama Rosita, the backpack seller, has been sustained in this vendor almost 6 years, proving that it is acceptable to consume, even it has been banned by the government. This only needs 70 pesos, which is 5 ringgit and 88 cents to buy a bucket of leftover food, making twice profit. Even though the Philippine National Anti-Poverty Commission has once again it consumed, however, they defied the warning as nobody has died from consume.
I will discuss on the third issue, which is poor waste management policies and system. What I can conclude from the first point is solid waste management issue is the biggest challenge to the authorities of both small and large cities in developing countries. This is mainly due to the increasing generation of such solid waste and the burden posed on the municipal budget. In addition to these high costs, the solid waste management is associated with a lack of understanding of the different factors that affect the entire ending system. The main reason for these problems is attributed to the poor economy of this area, which is account for the low achievement in solid waste management. Most of these developing countries fail in solid waste management, an issue due to the limited available resources and the competing priorities of their resources. For the second point is the poor route of planning, lack of information concerning the collection schedules, number of vehicles for solid waste collection, and insufficient infrastructure also can affect the characteristic of the solid waste. Lack of municipal solid waste management and disposal is leading to significant environmental problems. These include soil air, water, and aesthetic pollution. Such environmental problems are associated with human health disorder due to the increase in greenhouse gas emissions.
As for the recommendation, the government and the NGOs should spread the awareness by providing the alternative for education towards the low-income class. This will lead to a proper way of living and increasing the stability of life as the way of their thinking, feel, behave, and skill contribute to their personal life, satisfaction, personality, and the attitude.
The recommendation is junk shop owner to become partners in recycling, which regulate the junk shop to sell their goods to companies that recycle papers, metals and plastic, and mulling over to establish central recycling facility through the public-private partnership to systematically monitor the owner. Next, Ministry of Health Philippines is responsible for awareness of food hygiene so that residents may distinguish between consumed good compared to bad food. The ministry also can send food aid to create good exposure of suitable food consumed.
Next, we would suggest that people of Philippines to compost their leftovers. It is an easy yet effective way to reduce excessive waste disposal. They just have to take the remains of their kitchen waste and turn it into soil, which can contain high nutrient for their plants. It can also help reduce methane emissions from landfills and lower carbon footprints. Thus, this is an easy way that can help reduce the amount of waste disposal in the Philippines. Furthermore, they need to separate their trash correctly. This can be done by having recycle bins in their house to place all old soda cans, paper, metal, and plastic cups separately, which then they can send to their local recycling station instead of a landfill. It could also help reduce the workforce needed to manage garbage disposal and keeps materials out of landfills and incinerators.
Next, the solution for the first issue is government of Philippines should reduce the income gap between the rich and poor people. The income inequality has become a particularly pressing issue, which made them launch the tax reform for accumulation and inclusion trade. The richest will have to pay higher tax, which can help reduce income gap in Philippines. Apart from that, government can increase minimum wages to reduce the income gap.
There's two solutions, which is Scavengers Development Program and implementation of Healthcare Act 2019. Scavengers Development Program is a development of a federation of scavengers who live close to a major solid waste dump in Quezon City. This program is supported by FIN657 Missionaries Foundation and other NGOs. It is a long-term environmental development program that have been initiated on the existing activities of scavengers household. It also integrated housing, health, and other social initiatives. They started to fund micro enterprises and social needs, including a housing program. The Federation has also increased the scavengers' capacity to negotiate with local authorities and other government agencies. For the Universal Healthcare Act 2019, President Duterte signed the Universal Healthcare Act in February 2019. This act provides access to the full spectrum of healthcare by enrolling citizens in the National Insurance Program and granting health coverage to all. Those in poverty will have more access to health services. To ensure the effectiveness of healthcare, the Act will form the Health Technology and Assessment Council (HTAC). The council will consist of health experts who will assess health developments such as technology, vaccines and other advancements. Philippines will allocate more funds to PhilHealth, which will improve the quality of service and lower the cost of medicine. Every single Filipino citizen is automatically enrolled into the newly created National Health Insurance Program, NHIP, and this program is classified by membership for two types of contributors, which is direct contributor and indirect contributors.
For the solution, first, by securing management participation in endorsing programs goals and implementation, communicating the importance of reducing waste within the organization and sustaining the program can encouraging the employees' commitment and participation in the effort. We also can offer employees incentives to reduce waste. Tracking the amount of recyclables and waste hauled from the building gives an understanding of how the waste management program is performing, with the data on the amount of waste produced and recycling rate. Second, waste prevention and recycling programs can be significantly improved by actively educating employees and identifying markets for the recovered materials. Depending on the type of recyclable material, the equipment necessary for its processing changes. It allows us to reduce time costs and optimize the process. There are technologies that ensure accurate sorting of material, which simplify the transportation process.
Next, the solution for the first issue is government of Philippines should reduce the income gap between the rich and poor people. The income inequality has become a particularly pressing issue, which made them launch the tax reform for accumulation and inclusion 3. The richest will have to pay higher tax, which can help reduce income gap in Philippines. Apart from that, government can increase minimum wages to reduce the income gap.
In my opinion, MMDA should compel junk shops to comply with the law. Many junk shop owners also only secure permits for buying, selling and trading, but they didn't get permits from national government agencies. The large scale of junk shop violators is considered high risk, which will affecting people in the community. Closing the junk shop is one way to force the owner to comply the law, but not necessarily remove their source of income. And lastly, our Philippine Ministry of Health should improve the initiative in convincing and spreading awareness to Filipinos about the importance of healthcare. If they continuously consume food from dumpster, the rate of hepatitis A, cholera and typhoid will increase on their country, and they might create a new disease.
Apart from that, we think that manufacturers in Philippines should follow the Extended Producer Responsibility EPR scheme to reduce garbage disposal. Through this initiative, companies are required to properly dispose of their waste. Producers are obligated to pay for the cost of collection, sorting, and safe disposal. The more waste produced by companies, the higher the fees charged for them to dispose the waste, which is good since the fees can be used by government as fund for the scheme. This ultimately, in our opinion, can hugely reduce waste disposal into the country environments. Besides, we also think that the No Plastics in Nature NPIN initiative made by WWF Philippines can help decrease waste disposal. Through this movement, it intends to encourage and educate people to eliminate the use of unnecessary plastics while doubling the amount of reuse and recycling of plastics that are already in the environment. Thus, this movement will help reduce plastic pollution in nature if everyone plays a role in this campaign.
He said someday we'll leave this world behind. So live a life you will remember.